Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site, and today we're online with Dr. Pieter Langendijk. He is the senior research scientist at Trouw Nutrition. Peter's worked with Trouw Nutrition for 7 years, focusing on sow R&D, looking specifically at how nutrition can improve sow performance. Prior to his work with Trouw Nutrition, Peter conducted sow research in Australia at a public R&D institute. Thanks for being with us today, Peter.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Very good. And today we're going to talk about birth weight and these highly prolific sows that we see today.
Mhm.
Why do we focus so much on birth weight? Why is it so important to us?
Today it's not uncommon to wean, say, 30 piglets per sow per year. And to do that, we need to wean around 13 piglets per litter. And in general, say Western Europe, North America, to wean 13 piglets, you would need the sow to give birth to, say, 16 piglets. So that's your total born per litter, 16. But out of those 16, you end up losing 3 to the point of weaning. And that's around 20%. So you're losing 20% to the point of weaning. In general, out of that 20%, 1/3 will be lost at birth. So that's your stillborn piglets. And then another 2/3 will be lost between farrowing and weaning. And those losses are very much related to birth weight, especially the losses between farrowing and weaning are very much related to a birth weight of a piglet. Just to illustrate that, if you have piglets with a birth weight under, say, 750 grams, 50% of those don't make it to weaning. So they have a very high risk for mortality. Average birth weight is somewhere around 1.4, 1.5 kilo. Those under 1 kilo, that's generally, say, 10-15% of your population. Just to compare, a piglet with a more than 1 kilo birth weight, that piglet will have only 5% risk of mortality between farrowing and weaning. So there's a huge impact of birth weight on risk of mortality, and therefore number of piglets that you are able to wean from a litter. Yeah, so that's the significance really of birth weight.
How do large litters in today's sows affect birth weight?
The big word there is uterine capacity. So a sow can only accommodate a certain number of piglets. That's not really fixed, it's flexible. So if you would put, say, a certain number of embryos into a uterus, say we put 12 in there, they will grow into fetuses and you'll have maybe 10 piglets born, so there'll be some lost along the way. If you put, say, 20 embryos in there, the sow will lose some embryos along the way, similar to that 12 embryos. Percentage loss will be more, but you'll end up carrying more piglets to birth. So the uterus is flexible in that it can accommodate larger litters if needed, but at the same time it cannot sustain the growth of all those fetuses. And the result is that when you have a larger litter, the average birth weight will be lower. So piglets will be born smaller. So the total litter weight may increase because there's more piglets in the litter, but the average birth weight will decrease. And as a consequence of that, there'll simply be more piglets with a birth weight below 1 kilo, which is sort of that critical threshold. So with larger litter, we have a higher percentage of smaller piglets, and that puts more piglets at risk of mortality, between farrowing and weaning. The other aspect is parity. Gilts tend to have smaller uteruses or less mature uteruses compared to older sows. So even if they carry the same size litter, gilts will give birth to smaller piglets than mature sows. Difference is around 100 grams. So if a gilt carries 15 piglets, they may be 1.3 kilo average, whereas a sow would carry the same 15 piglets, they would be 1.4 kilo average.
How can we improve birth weights?
If you look at nutritional concepts to improve birth weight, because I'm in the business of nutrition really, a lot of the research and work to develop that kind of concepts has focused on the last part of gestation. And that's because that's the period where piglets really grow in utero. First 2 months or first 2/3 of gestation, they hardly grow. It's really that last 30 days that they put on weight. So some of this research would have tried to increase feed allowance for sows in the hope to deliver more nutrients to the fetuses and increase birth weight in that way. Most of that research has really been disappointing. So what happens normally is that if you increase feed allowance, you'll see that the sow will put on more weight and maybe more back fat rather than see an increase in birth weight. The same really for research that has focused on increasing vascularity of the placenta. There's been quite some research with arginine, which is an amino acid that increases vascularity of the placenta. It does that throughout gestation, and the hope there would be that by doing that you can increase the delivery of nutrients and oxygen to the fetuses in the hope that you increase birth weight. Again, that type of research has been disappointing when it comes to birth weight. And I think the conclusion really is that maybe this last month of gestation is the wrong window to target. We should really target a different window in gestation. And in my mind, that's the period where the placenta develops. Because we know that placenta size, placenta weight, is associated with birth weight. So
Right.
small piglets have
Right.
small placentas, large piglets have large placentas. So if we could manipulate placenta size, we could hopefully increase birth weight as well. And we know that the placenta develops in the middle of gestation, so say between day 30 and 60. So I think we should develop nutritional concepts that target that window in gestation and improve placenta development, and by doing that improve birth weight.
Excellent. Well, as a researcher, it sounds like you have your work cut out for you.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you, Peter, for all the information today.
Thank you, Sarah, for having me.
This is Sarah Meixel with the Pig Site.